You suffered an injury just before the FA Cup final and you just made fitness. Were you 100% for that game and how was it?
I could probably say I was 90%, even though you get asked if you're ready and you're 100%, you just want to play in the final, don't you? And I remember getting injured in the semi after about 20 minutes, and because we played against Bolton, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, there's a few things I remember about the semi-final, and the first one is getting injured and how bad it felt, because you know I'd had hamstring strains and that before, but like this was just something else because I was full sprint. It's like somebody shot me, and it was such a weird feeling. It was like the whole atmosphere was sort of sucked away from me, and you couldn't hear anything, and it was just such a weird feeling. I went down. I just thought, this here of all places, you know, to come off after 20 minutes in a buzzing in a semi-final against Bolton, and the whole place is full to the rafters, and that was the first thought. And then I thought, if we get through to the final, I'm not going to play in that either. Yeah. So, you know, it was a double whammy, and I thought, and then I had to go off, had to watch the rest of the game on the bench. The third thing was that, you know, you've got that photo that's up at Villa Park when all the penalties are going in.
Oh yeah, I remember.
And all the lads are like, so just as Dion's put the penalty in, there's that picture, isn't there? And I'm not on it. I'm not on it. So I see that picture everywhere now. And I'm like, yeah, I got injured that day. Do you know what I mean? And that picture's like, it's iconic, that picture.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had to graft to get back for that final. And to be fair to John, he put me in. He put me in the team. And I remember the morning when he sort of, because he didn't announce the team until the morning of the game, and I always remember Alan Thompson was in the team at the time, and he had to tell Alan Thompson that he wasn't playing, and he was absolutely fuming, absolutely fuming, even to the extent that I think his missus told my missus, "What's Ian Taylor doing playing in the team?" Really? Do you know what I mean? Because I didn't think he'd pick me, to be honest, and I'm sure, you know, Tomo thought, yeah, I'm gonna be playing in the final at Wembley, because he played the previous games,
yeah.
and John put me in the team. So I hope it wasn't my fault that we lost.
That's just a bad day at the office, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a bad day at the office. I mean, Chelsea were a decent team with big names in the team as well, but you know, they scored early on, and J-Mo made a mistake, and we just couldn't recover from it. But like I said before, you pray that you go to those occasions and things click, and things just didn't click for us on that day. And to play in an FA Cup final as well, biggest competition like that, and not perform, it's one of my biggest regrets, really.
So obviously John's spoken to us previously, and he said he regretted things that happened that day. He said he felt with immense pride, obviously, making the final, but then he said he got his tactics wrong, a bit too defensive.
It's probably why he played me then. Probably why he played me. He probably saw putting me in the team as a mistake. But like I just said, you know, it was probably a toss-up between me and Tomo playing. Tomo was a more attacking player. Well, yeah, he was probably more attacking, but like I said earlier, I could do both really. But these are decisions you make as a manager, isn't it? And he did what he thought was best at the time for us to win the game, as most managers do. And you know, sometimes you do look back and think, I wish I'd have done something differently, but you can't change anything, can you?
Do you think about that cup final every day? John says he thinks about it every single day, that cup final.
Nah, I don't. I don't. I always think about the things that we won, and you know, and the positive things really. I think you're always going to have bad days, but it would have been nice to have won it, obviously. But you know, the occasions that I'd had before that sort of override it anyway. So,
yeah, that's fair.
You know, and obviously John wasn't manager on the previous occasions, was he? So he's always going to look back and think, you know, should I have done this or should I have done that, because he was the manager at the time. So it's his fault.
I'll tell him. Well, you can tell him.
You can watch this.
Yeah.
That summer though, players like Julian Joachim, Hugo Eki or Gareth they all put these transfer requests in. How did that affect the squad's morale going into the new season?
It was weird, really, because Middlesbrough wasn't a bigger club than us at the time, and you just thought, well, obviously there's something going on there. I'm sure that Steve Harrison had gone there, and he would have been a big influence on them wanting to go there. And obviously they sold it to him really well. And the thing is, they're not, as people say now, they're not Villa fans, are they? They're not sort of, their allegiance isn't to Villa. It's a job. So, that case would have been put in front of them. The club's going here, we're doing this, we're doing that, we're doing this. And then compare it to what was happening at Villa at the time, and they obviously thought it was going to be better. So, but it was disappointing because, like I said with Yorkie before, we were forming a good team and starting to do things. And when your best players then want to leave and go somewhere else, it is a gut wrencher. And then you have to start again, don't you, and get more players in. So yeah, it was disappointing.
Do you hold a grudge at them in the dressing room? Because obviously you've been a Villa fan as well. Do you no, I'm not going to speak to Gareth Southgate to see where he wants to go?
No, it's not like that, because new players come in and take the place, and you have to be professional about it, and then sort of get on with your new players and get on with the job in hand, really. You can't think about the players that have just gone out the door, so you just get on with your job, and just hope that the new players are better.
Well, Melberg came in, to be fair. He was quite a good one, Melberg.
Yeah. So there's always going to be other players come in, and you just hope that they're going to do the job.
Paul Merson was obviously just pure class at times. What was he like to be around and play with?
Yeah, he's probably the player I've seen with the best outside of the right foot pass ever. He hardly ever used the inside of his foot, always the outside, and we used to call it the wand because he just put it anywhere he wanted to. But Merce was another player that had his troubles off the pitch, but nicest guy ever. Great personality in the dressing room. Always had a story to tell, and he's a great laugh. He's always had a joke and a story. But yeah, he was a good leader as well. I think up and down the years at Villa, there were some good leaders in the dressing room as well. Some good captains and people that could drag the not so loud or not so big personality people through. So there's some good character. And the good thing is, the good characters and become good mates, because I still keep in touch with a lot of them now. So after all this time as well. So that's something that's good about it all as well.
I think he's technically the best player I've seen at Villa.
Yeah, some of the things they used to do in training was like, and without trying either, do you know what I mean? He was a really talented player, and I think, I don't know whether he had his best days at Arsenal or other places, but when he played for us, he was a real crowd pleaser as well. Somebody that the crowd could look at and say, yeah, great player, because fans want somebody like a Paul Merson in the team. Flair players and players that will score goals. They're the first ones that they look to, and he was one of those.
Never been replaced, really. There's never really been anyone like him since that I can think of.
I think, in general, I think teams in general struggle for players like that. Yeah. There's not many players like that about anymore. You've got your Hazards of this world, obviously Messi and Ronaldo, but after that, there's not many, is there?
When John Gregory left the club, how much did that hit you on a personal level? Because obviously you'd always played under him, and just in general, how did that affect the club?
It did affect me a little bit, because obviously when you played under a certain manager for a certain length of time, you know that he likes you, and I knew that John liked me and liked to play me. So then you think, well, what's the next manager going to be like? Will he like the way I play? Will he put me in the team and whatnot? So that's always difficult, and it's just the way that John left. We were struggling at the time as well, and I don't think he could sort of handle the day-to-day of trying to get the team back on track. Yeah, he hated losing. John was one of those where he'd just disappear when we'd lost. Do you know what I mean? And I don't think he could handle that side of it, really. It's great when it was going well. But his own personal thoughts of losing, because he absolutely hated it, I think he couldn't get past the thought of losing himself, and then having to go to the team and trying to drag them through it as well. So it was a shame, because I thought John was a great manager. I thought he was a great personality, just the kind of manager that TV and everybody liked, who had a bit of personality, had a bit of banter. So it was just it was a shame that it had to come to an end.
Is it worse when you because clearly John loves the club. Is it worse when you're losing in a real bad run, when you actually love the club?
That was probably it, and because he was part of the fabric, wasn't he? And he'd play for the club, and he knew what it was all about. And still see John at games now, and he comes and watches whenever he can. And we always have a bit of banter, and I know Villa's in his heart. So yeah, it was disappointing when he left, but I can understand it when results aren't going your way. Everybody looks at the manager, don't they? And they look at things to change, but nothing did. So it's one of those. He had to go.
Injuries, something that stunted your start under Graham Taylor. Did you sort of sense that your time at Villa was coming to end, or did you always hope that you could get back on track?
I was getting on a bit. So the injuries started to come. I think when Graham came in, I was 31, maybe. I think I was 31. I can't remember, but it's difficult trying to be the player that I was, or the kind of player that I was, to get around the pitch and then start picking up little niggly injuries. And to be fair to Graham, he said to me, I want to play you all the time, but you keep picking up these. This was towards the end of his tenure, where it was time for me to get a new contract or not get a new contract. And he said to me, look, I'd love to keep you, but you keep sort of getting injured. So there came a time when my contract came to an end, and they let me go.
So that last game against Leeds away, I think it was, your last game, and you went up to the Villa fans. I think there's an image of you in the rain, clapping them for the last time. I don't think they
made me cry now.
Sorry. I don't think Villa fans knew that you were going, but you were like giving like a hero's reception, as if they thought that it might happen.
I found out the night before that I was not going to be given a new contract, and to then have to play under those circumstances was tough, mate. Really, really tough, knowing that you were leaving. And we played against Sunderland the week before at home. Yeah. And I was thinking to myself, why didn't you tell me before that? And at least I could have had a send off at Villa Park. But that's the way they did it, and it was disappointing at the time, because I'd been there so long as well. I'd been there 8.5 years or 9 years or whatever it might have been. And it was disappointing, but I understood why, because I was picking up all these injuries and I couldn't play all the time. So it was one of those, wasn't it?
Alan Wright went
Sad
as well,
time.
didn't he?
Yeah, he went. His contract was up at the end of that season as well, so he went. So I had to sit and watch new players come in my club and watch from afar. But it's funny though, because I went on to. But that was, I don't know, that was a bit of a wake-up call for me, because then when I went to Derby, I went to Derby after that for 2 years, and when I went to Derby, I thought to myself, I'm going to train extra hard. I'm going to get a personal trainer. So I was doing stuff at home with a personal trainer to make myself fitter and stronger. And I went to Derby, and I was 35 when I went to Derby. No, when I finished at Derby, 33 when I went to Derby. And I played every game. Do you know what I mean? Oh. So, if I'd have thought to myself, I'm getting 31, 32, I might have played that little bit longer at Villa. But Premier League, not many players play at 30, 32, 33 in the Premier League, do they? So,
did you get the same enjoyment when you were playing at Derby and Northampton as you did when you were at Villa?
Obviously not, but but to be fair, one of the things that I do pride myself in is that at all the clubs I've been at, bar Sheffield Wednesday, I've achieved something. So at Port Vale we got promotion and we won what is the Trick or Trade now, I think, which was the Autoglass Trophy. Won that. Went to Villa, won a trophy there. Went to Derby. We got into the playoffs at Derby and just missed out on promotion. I was playing with a young Tom Huddleston there. So yeah, I was kind of a mentor to him because we were playing alongside each other, and it was brilliant. Because I always thought, I said to him, "You're playing the Premier League, mate," and he is. So I look back and think, hopefully I was part of that and sort of helped him along the way. And then I went to Northampton and we got promotion there as well at the end of my career. So, I've done all right at every single club I've been to, and to be fair, if I go back to Derby now, they accept me with open arms because I did well there and all the clubs I've been at. So, yeah, it's I've had a really, really good career, and I look back and I wouldn't regret anything that I've done, not a thing, even losing in the 2000 FA Cup final.
Fair. Not many people can say that, can they? No regrets.
No, none at all. None at all. Say that to everybody now. You don't want to make any decision that you'll be looking at and in 10 years' time and thinking, I wish I'd have done something different. But every decision I've made, I thought, yeah, it was the right one.
On your last ever career game, some Villa fans went down as well.
Yeah, it was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I don't even know how they knew it was my last game or my final game, but loads of fans came down and you could hear them singing, and I thought, what the hell's going on here? And I could see them all down the end singing "There's Only One Ian Taylor," and I thought it was unbelievable that that some fans would come. Well, it's not all that way, but I know it's not far, but just even make the effort to go to give me a send off, and it was really, really good. And say thank you to all those people that came on that day. But the plan was, I think Stuart Gray, or it might have been Colin Coldwood, was manager at the time, and the plan was to bring me off like 20 minutes before the end or something, so I could get a bit of an ovation. And I came off the pitch, and when I got to the sideline, I took my boots off and I threw them back on the pitch and just walked off, which went down well. But no, it was good playing there as well, because I played with people like Sean Dyche. He was centre back, and like I say, Colin Coldwood was playing. Bradley Johnson, who's playing for Derby now. I said he'd play in the Premier League as well, and he did. Mark Bunn was in goal for us as well, young keeper. So, and I said to him, "You're playing the Premier League," and they've all done it. So
you should do some scouting.
I like to think that I've got a good eye for a player as well, because they were great lads as well, and I knew they'd make it. But we all played together, which was good, and like I say, hopefully I've been part of their learning curve as well. So I'll give Bunny a bit of stick now, and any chance you getting in the team or what, mate?
So you never actually played for Villa against Birmingham City, and you've just said you never played against them in your whole career.
Never, ever.
If you'd have played against them and scored, that would have been a perfect hat trick in a way.
It just would have been another
goal on your debut,
tick.
goal at Wembley in a cup final, and then a goal against your
tick.
local rivals.
But saying that, we talk about regrets, and I mentioned having regrets, and one of them is never playing against the Blues. That is one. But I tried to make it up by going in the away end and stuff. But
yeah, not so.
But I'd have loved to have.
I'd like to have seen you play against Blues. What would you have done if you'd
I
have
had to
scored?
sit and watch the day that Dion butted Sav and all that.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? It's.
What would you have done if you'd have scored against them? Would it have been?
I'd have still been running now.
Yeah.
Still been celebrating now. But funny enough, I had a trial for Blues when I was a kid.
Wow.
I had a trial, and I think Terry Cooper was the manager at the time, and I was there for a week, and I scored 3 goals in 2 games or something stupid like that. And any other manager would have signed me, but he didn't sign me. All I heard was when I went at the end of the week, it was like, "Yeah, we'll be in touch. blah, 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 blah. And never heard anything again. Went to Moor Green, and then my career just went a different way.
I can't imagine. I can't imagine you playing.
I know.
Good job. That's a good job.
And to be honest, you asked a question earlier about, you know, if Man United had come in for me, if Blues had come in for me, I don't know what the hell I'd have done.
I can't imagine you playing for Blues.
Mate, I can't either.
Travesty.
I can't either. But you know, I'm glad my career went a different way.
Yeah, it worked out for the best.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Ian Taylor. You're watching The Villa View. Up the Villa.
Perfect. Yeah, don't need to
They don't call me one take tails for nothing.
That's called one take, Jonathan.
That's exactly what John did. He said, cool, just call me one. Thank you for doing that. Really appreciate it.
No worries, mate.
Brilliant.
No worries.
If you enjoyed that video, why not watch another one?
Click the video choices on screen now to go and watch them in full.
And don't forget to subscribe. Click on our logo there on the left and press subscribe.
Easy peasy.